Oxbury Bank, we are aware that farmers are being asked more and more to provide evidence on their carbon status on farm, and that it can be quite a challenge to collect all the base data. We therefore embarked on a case study in 2023 to establish these facts on farm, and Richard Percy, non-executive director of Oxbury, volunteered his farm for this purpose to us.
Well, welcome to Carolien Farm. My name is Richard Percy. We farm here in West Hertfordshire on the Chiltern Hills. So we're all arable, essentially growing combinable crops, wheat, oilseed rape, spring barley for malting. So what the bank has done is able to give us an idea of how we compare with other businesses, and we know what carbon we're using to produce our crops, but what we don't know and couldn't know is how much carbon we're tying up in the soil in terms of organic matter, and more importantly how that changes from year to year.
We're a bank that prides ourselves on being for the agricultural sector and the food sector. And that means that we need to enable farmers to manage this transition from a climate perspective and from a consumer perspective. And we have to enable them to transition to a next level and a next phase. And so for us, it's important that we understand what that could entail and that we actually provide tools to customers that allows them to take the steps on farm. We've involved the SAC Consulting and AgriCalc as the carbon calculator to do a carbon footprint on the farm, and so we have a full picture on emissions over a year. And then we've looked at the soil carbon. We use downforce to use remote sensing that we've been able to benchmark against other existing soil samples, and bringing those two pictures together then enables us to see how the farm is responding to certain farming practices, and then it will enable Richard to make an overall plan on how he's going to manage future farmer risks.
So now what we know is we know where we stand, and what we want to try and do is to see how we can reduce that going forward, and it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, we have been surprised with the results. It's, you know, using the satellites and stuff, it just gives you sort of, go back to 2017, so it's given us historical, and we can link it to rainfall, cropping, and we can make decisions with that. It's actually really easy to see this sort of trends. Decisions are going to be long term, but in the short term, if we can make little changes and see results of that going forward, then we can change the way we crop. We could introduce, we could use more cover crops. We could introduce a livestock farmer to take those cover crops off. We could be more adventurous on that sort of side.
And I hasten to say, it's not coming up with the answer. What it's doing is giving us the information, and I think that's what we need at this stage is an understanding of the way carbon works.
The more farmers we can show this information to, I think the more valuable decisions there will be, and it is enabling farmers to share their experiences and to talk about these changes.
The more farmers that get involved in this, the more data we get, the more we'll be able to discuss it. So Oxbury is absolutely fundamental at bringing together people with from different soil types, from different farming systems, and be able to compare the results. And I'm sure hopefully there'll be discussion between farmers that facilitated by the bank, and I think that'll be really important and really useful.